About me. I fucked a Mexican, I fucked an Indian, I fucked a native Canadian Indian, I fucked black, I fucked Chinese, I fucked German, Russian, I fucked every race. That was one of my goals that I had to accomplish before I would settle down. I even fucked an Eskimo that had no teeth. What a blowjob. I used to go to the bar, pick up a girl, bring her home, fuck her, and then I would go back to the bar and pick up another one. I did that constantly. At that time, I was only satisfied if I had 2 women every night. After fucking the first one, I would go to the bar and tell the next girl what I had done. I'd say something like, you know, tonight I met a really nice girl, her name was Nancy. And the reason I'm still here is because she didn't satisfy me. I lived on sex. And after I got tired of fucking any particular woman, I'd say, my friend Bruno is coming over, and I want you to give him some head today. Why do you think women are with pimps? Think about it. A pimp makes her fuck tons of guys and she is willing to do almost anything for him. Now, I don't consider pimps to be model citizens, but they do understand something about women. And not only is she fucking for him, she is bringing him the money. Guys wouldn't do that for a woman. As horny as we are, most of us wouldn't do that, and if we did, we sure as hell wouldn't give her the money. But they do it for security. Decide what you want and go get it. Somebody recently asked me what I want for my children. I want my kids to have enough confidence to do what they want with their lives, and to be happy. Isn't that what you want? I'm on the road of life, and I know where I'm going. If she wants to come with me, then she is welcome. I'm not going down her road, I'm going down my road. When I'm talking to a woman, she is in my restaurant, looking at my menu. And the menu isn't going to change, unless I want it to change. 2. Chapter 1. Bad Boys. I lived in Texas for 2 years, and when I came back to Montreal I called up this woman that I used to go out with. And she was extremely pissed off at me for just getting up and leaving without telling her goodbye. I said, you were the first one I called. I'm looking at my list and you came in with the highest rating. Now is there a chance for me to come over or not? I'm too horny to argue. She said, come over. So I went over and fucked her. After I finished, she squawked for another 2 hours. I let her complain, who cares what they say, while I went to sleep. In the morning she made me breakfast and squawked for another 2 hours. Finally I asked, how long do I have to take your complaining for? How much squawking is 2 years in Texas worth? And she said, I'm almost done. How much is 2 years in Texas worth? Yes, I didn't call. Yet, I fucked tons of other women. No, I wasn't thinking about you. Yet. You're so right, honey. Okay, fine, she's right. I'm a terrible man. But they like bad boys. Remember that Seinfeld episode when George was the bad boy? He decided to do the complete opposite of what he had always done, and all of a sudden he had more women than ever. It's a fact that women like bad boys. A lot of them even admit it. I love you. Now, every once in a while, and especially as you learn to develop this attitude, a woman will tell you that she loves you. If you say, I love you too, then you're fucked. You might as well chop off your dick and hand it to her. He who loves least controls the relationship. If you want to control the relationship, don't fall in love with her so quickly. Don't toss the ball in their court, control the ball at all times. And you've got to be relentless, you can't afford to be lazy. Remember, the person who loves the least controls the relationship. I have only said, I love you to 2 women in my life. I married them both. I tell them, when I tell a woman that I love her, it's because I'm also putting a ring on her finger. When you set a precedent you have to stick to your guns. If you tell her no, then later on for whatever reason you allow her, she will view you as weak. Give them an inch and they will take a mile. Stop making excuses and stop making exceptions. When you set a precedent you can't go back. One of the big diseases that happens to men that are in a relationship is laziness. You have to do what you want relentlessly. You cannot give in ever. They want the strength and they will love you for it. You always have to be on top of the situation. What happens to most guys is that once they fuck her, they doze off. They get lazy. It's the same thing with meeting them. The follow-through is important. Now, when she steers the conversation toward sex, for example, I'll say something like, you seem to have sex on your mind more than I do. Or I'll say, I don't want to talk about sex right now. When she asks why, I'll say, because I only like talking about sex when I know I'm going to be getting some. Now when she brings up sex again, I know I've got her. You always want to lead the conversation right from the beginning. I like to tell them that maybe we won't get that far, sex. Because after I get to know her, I may not want sex from her. I tell women that I'm not sure if I want to sleep with them yet. I tell them, we'll see, let me get to know you first. Don't they do that to us? I'm just doing what they do. When you tell a woman that you don't know if you want to sleep with her, she will love your confidence. Women want a confident guy who knows what he wants. When you have stables, when you have 4 or 5 girlfriends at once, Valentine's Day can be a real bitch because they all want to be with you on Valentine's Day. I used to give them all the same card. I went out and bought a box of Valentine's Day cards and they were all exactly alike. And if I was still with a woman the next year, I gave her the exact same card again. Sometimes they would complain and I'd say, can you imagine how hard I look to find the exact same card, because it's the only card that can adequately express how I feel about you. Hey, I'm a romantic guy. I'm not lying. I said, can you imagine? I don't lie, but I don't reveal everything either. 3. I give them the menu, and they can choose from the menu. I'm not going to change my menu for anyone. It's my menu. If I'm offering you meat, don't ask me for a pastry. Go to the pastry chef if that's what you want. He's cute. He can't give you what I can give you, but he's cute. I think there's a lot more women out there who want what's on my menu. There's a lot of dishes on my menu that a lot of guys don't have. Dealing with parents. When a woman is still controlled by her parents, I tell her right away that her parents won't like me and that I don't want to give her a hard time. Not only am I being honest by telling her this, but it turns them on. If I say, your parents won't like me, right away they think I'm a bad boy, and they all want the bad boy. I don't like to lie to the parents either. I tell them that I'm as bad as they think I am. I'm as bad as you think I am. When I want women to do things for me, whether it be sexual or anything at all, I don't ask them, I tell them. But I do it in a very charming way. I don't say, may I please buy you a drink? I say, what are you drinking? I don't ask her out on a date. I say something like, I want you to have dinner with me tonight. Get it? I'm not asking and I'm not demanding. I'm telling them what I want in a confident and respectful manner. I'm showing them what's on the menu. But she's so. You can't treat a hot one like she's a hot one, and you can't treat her like you're not trying to treat her like she's a hot one, and maybe she knows that you know. Read that again, just to make sure it sinks in. Because if you do that, you're ignoring her because she's hot. Treat them all the same, no matter what they look like. And remember that while you think she's hot, I may think she's ugly. What's the difference in how you treat a 10 versus a 1? Depends on how horny you are. Next question. How do you treat an 8 versus a 5? Depends. Am I horny? What about young versus old? Treat them all the same. Young to me is probably old to you. I'm 53 years old. You have to stop thinking about them and instead think of you. After all, you are the most important person in the relationship. But she is just so. Forget it. The whole orientation of seduction psychology is wrong, by the way. It just trains you to be over-analytical and causes you to forget the most important person in the relationship, you. You can't be thinking for her. Let her do that. Think for you. Instead of thinking, what does she want, think about what you want and only you. Do it honestly and completely. What will happen is it will teach you something more valuable than money and more valuable than technique. It will teach you honesty. 4. Chapter 2. Control. Women are constantly testing us. I really believe that. Children test you to see how far they can go, and women are the same. Being with children can teach you a lot about how you should be with a woman. As soon as you give in, you lose. You failed the test. Any psychiatrist will tell you that. Because if you are willing to give in now, then you've just demonstrated that you'll also give in later. Once you've set an example of something, it's too late. If you give in now, you are making your life more difficult later on. I'm tough with kids, but they love me. My son's friends love me, I'm like the Pied Piper. Why? Because the rules aren't hard to follow when I live by them also. When I wanted my son to learn how to skate, I learned skating too. That's why I can't understand it when I see other parents yelling at their kids and forcing them to learn how to skate when they're not even willing to learn it themselves. I see that all the time now that I have kids. Ignorant parents that push their children to succeed at things and aren't even willing to get on that ice and fall on their own asses. Those bruises keep me from being a hypocrite. You need to be in control but not controlling. When I was still dating, sometimes women would start to have a hissy fit, saying things like, "It's always your way," and I would say, "I'm glad you remember the rules. It's my direction in life and I don't care what they say. I know what I want in my life, and I know myself better than they do. My life is not a democracy. You've been conditioned to be a pussy. My mother told me that I have to ask for everything politely. Can I please fuck you tonight?" Your mommy meant well, but try to forget her advice, because she left out the important stuff. Your mommy didn't tell you, treat a lady like a whore and treat a whore like a lady. Your mommy forgot to mention, who cares what they think. She never told you that the most important person in the relationship is you. And that's because it's your life. Women don't know what's good for you, your mom doesn't know what's good for you, and I don't know what's good for you. I'm not saying that your mother did anything wrong. You're probably a very nice person. But you're not nice to yourself, you're nice to other people. You've been conditioned to be a pussy. Say please. Be nice. Share your toys. Say thank you for that cookie. But in this world today, we're finding out that being nice to certain people is dangerous. When you go out to meet women, you're on dangerous grounds. Who knows what these women are like? Some of them have AIDS, some of them are prostitutes, coke whores, manipulative cunts, thieves, murderers, liars, the list of fucked up women goes on and on. I've had women rip me off while I was taking a piss. They went into my wallet and took my money. And they'll cheat on you given half the chance. Do you honestly believe that your girlfriend wouldn't fuck George Clooney behind your back? What if Brad Pitt showed up in her life? Would she stick around for you? You've got to be nice to you first. Let's just be friends. What if she just wants to be friends? What if she's not over her ex? You either fuck her or you don't. It's black or white. There can't be any brown, gray, or blue. You're not immortal. If she's not ready, it usually means, stick around for now until I find something better. If her favorite rock star asked her out, do you think she would say, "I'm washing my hair tonight"? She would probably make time for him. If she's not making time for you, that's okay. Somebody else will. There's 6 billion people on the planet, and half of them are lonely women. And a funny thing happens when you just say okay and walk away effortlessly. Suddenly she may change her mind. If she does, great. Let her chase after you for a while. You have to realize that their cunts aren't more valuable than our cocks. We're both after the same thing, each other. 5. The easiest thing you can do is walk away from a woman. You won't get to fuck her, but at least you won't have to put up with her indecisiveness. You won't have to bring her a flower, or any of that shit. Just walk away, enjoy your freedom while it lasts. What is it? Your sex is worth so much? Go give it to somebody else, I don't want it. Usually what happens when you finally do get to taste the ones that give you such a hard time is you discover they're no good anyway. They give us such a hard time in the beginning. But what they're doing is they're testing you to see if you've got what it takes to take good care of her. They don't want a pussy. If you're reading this, I think that you need an awakening, you need a good kick in the ass. I'm not telling you to use patterns and formulas and hypnosis and subliminal messages and pheromones and fancy sports cars. I'm not asking you to divide 765 multiplied by the square root of 17 minus 0.8 plus 68 to the power of 7. I'm telling you, know what you want, and tell her. I don't want you to follow my system. I want you to follow yours. You don't have the confidence to tell her what you want? Then maybe you're not horny enough, maybe you don't want it badly enough. Try being a faggot. I don't know what to tell you. Make up your mind. You don't almost fuck them. Either you do them or you don't. I had a rule, if I didn't fuck them by the 3rd date, they were gone. There was no 4th, 5th, or 17th date with me. There's only 3 strikes in baseball. And I tell them. I give every woman just enough rope to hang herself with. She's the one worrying about me. You guys are always worried about them. But what if they had to worry about losing you? You need to realize that you are a commodity. You guys are sitting around jerking off when there's millions of women out there putting on their makeup every morning hoping to attract you. I'm overweight, I swear like a sailor, and I'm not good looking. But I never cared because women don't look at that. They wanted to please me. They brought me their friends and I would fuck them all. They would lick my asshole while I fucked their friends. They let me do whatever I wanted to do. I used to tell women to wait in the bedroom with their asses sticking out, and I'd send in my friends to go fuck them. They did it to please me. There was never a weekend that I sat around thinking, oh, how am I going to get laid tonight? 6. Chapter 3. My way or the highway. You have to be in control of every interaction. It's my way or the highway. For example, if a woman asks you a question that makes you uncomfortable, don't answer it. You are under no obligation to do anything that you don't want to do. Be a man, and she will respect you for it, even if she seems all upset. Just say, I don't want to answer that question. When she asks why, just turn it around and say, you don't have any secrets from me. What if she says, oh, I can't tell you? Fine. That means it works both ways. If she doesn't want to tell me something, I'm not gonna beg her to tell me. See, we all have the right to keep secrets, and it works both ways. The way I see it, if she doesn't want to tell me something, that just makes it easier for me to hold secrets. She can have all the secrets she wants. You have to be in control but not controlling. That means being in control of yourself. If you freak out on her because she's withholding information, then you're essentially telling her that you own the rights to her thoughts. I see all these dumb guys arguing with their women. I don't argue with them. She can do whatever she wants and so can I. You see, if you argue with them then you're a pussy. It's my way or the highway. When you argue, you are telling her that you need her to act in a certain way or see something from your point of view in order for you to be happy. If you love someone, set them free. My women know what the rules are and they know that I'm perfectly willing to walk if they don't obey the rules. You need to learn to be strong and decisive. Rule number 1, who cares what they think? Because what they think is irrelevant. Guys are constantly asking me how to handle a woman who is a bitch. Who needs her? If you want her just for the sex, fine. But I find that you will be much better off sleeping with a prostitute that is just as good looking anyway. Because the prostitute won't give you any hassle, she won't waste your time, and she will probably be a better fuck anyway. And she will only cost you about $150, whereas the bitch will drain you emotionally and financially. Unless you're me, of course, and you learn how to get over your fears of rejection and think out loud. Why would you want a bitch? So she can twist you around in knots? If you still want her, then you first need to remember the golden rule, treat a lady like a whore, and treat a whore like a lady. If a woman is so good looking, with her tits hanging out, she is acting like a whore. So treat her like the whore that she is. Remember, every woman is a whore except for 2 of them, your mother and your sister. Just watch the amazing transformation that will occur in a woman when you treat her this way. She is gorgeous, wears red lipstick, tight pants so you can see her crotch, and lets her tits hang out for everyone to see. Now watch what happens when someone like me walks up and says, "You're so fucking good looking, what do you charge a man to sleep with you?" And she'll get upset and say, "I'm no prostitute." To that I reply, "Well, you sure fooled me. You sure act like one." I am telling you guys, when you hit those bitches with a line like that, they are speechless. You're the only guy that came up and called her a whore. The rest of them all thought it, but were too afraid to say it. Now I know what you're thinking. You're afraid to say these kind of things to women. There you go, you're trying to think for her again. But what will she think? Who cares? Stop worrying about getting rejected. Be ruthless. Have the balls to say and do whatever the fuck you want to say and do. 7. Bitches. If you want to go after the biggest bitches in the world, then I will show you how. But it won't be easy in the beginning. So start small and build. You have to learn to fly a small airplane before they will let you fly the big 747s. You need to throw these bitches off balance a little bit, and the way to do it is to just be honest with them. Tell her the truth. Tell her that you don't care if she's good looking. Tell her you'd rather be alone. Tell her she is lucky to have those looks because nobody would talk to her otherwise. And she's lucky that you are talking to her because she is acting like such a bitch. Tell her that if it weren't for that chest, people would just ignore her because she's got such a bad attitude. Think out loud. You're just being truthful. How hard could it be? Tell her that she needs a guy like you to make people think that she is a person of worth. Once you finally get a woman like that, sexy and bitchy, fuck her and dump her. Then let her chase after you for a couple of years. Having her chase you and beg you to make love to her is going to satisfy you a lot more than any orgasm she can possibly give you. When I see a woman like that who is groveling, it makes me smile. Why does a guy want a hot chick? Because she becomes his trophy, and he can show her off to his buddies. Let's face it, she might be nice to look at, but when the lights go out at night and you are fucking her, that pretty face doesn't mean shit. Her mouth might mean something, and how nice her lips are around your dick, but the way she looks is irrelevant at this point. The only thing that matters when you're in bed is how good she makes you feel, the way she moves, the way she sounds, and the way she tastes. Keeping them. Now, getting women is one thing. Getting them is easy. Keeping them is a whole different story. Now that is where the hard work comes in. It's my kind of attitude that keeps them begging for more. You guys can't afford to be lazy in a relationship. You have to keep this attitude going at all times. And it's going to take a lot of hard work to achieve my level of confidence, let's face it. Start small and build. You'll get there soon. Enough. When I first started out, I loved big tits. I was a tit man. Then I became an ass man. Then, I began looking first at their crotches. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What you like about a woman I may not like. A lot of it has to do with the mood that you're in as well. When you're in a good, happy state, you may want a pretty face to love. When you're in a bad mood, you may be looking for a nice big ass to fuck. There was a period in my life when I was only doing threesomes and orgies. I couldn't just fuck one girl anymore. Too boring. I don't chase after women. I don't beg, I don't try to please them. Guys are always worried if they're good looking enough. My attitude is, hey, my dick is better than his dick. Taste them both, you'll see. Guys, just let the women worry about their own looks. They're good at it. Looks mean nothing. It's how you make a woman feel that is important. And they want a strong guy. They want a man, not a pussy that is worried about his looks. It's the lesbians that don't want men. They want pussies, they want male friends that are gay and won't touch them. Lesbians want a guy to say, yes dear. Anything you want dear. They can all be girls together. They don't want a man, they want someone that they can control. Now, these broads that want to lead you around by the nose, as soon as they start to lead you, as soon as they decide when and what, you're going to be in trouble because it's not her role. If you give the woman in the relationship all your power, if you give her the steering wheel, you will crash. Guys are always asking me, how do you get them back after a breakup? Easy. Most of you guys are thinking that women are complicated, but they're not. Let me give you an example, to show you how easy it really is. 1. Time I was doing a consultation with a guy, and he had this tendency to overcomplicate everything. While we were talking, this woman that I knew very well called me on the phone. So after a minute of listening to her, I put down the phone and continued on with the meeting. She was just blabbing away incessantly about something or other. And every couple of minutes, I would pick up the phone and go, you who, yeah, and put it down again. After 15 minutes of this, I picked up the phone and told her what I had done. I told her how I had put the phone down and ignored her for so long. She never believed it. Women never believe what you tell them. I don't know why, but it's true. If you want to get a girl back, try saying, no matter how many girls I've been with, no matter how many girls I meet, all I see is your face instead of theirs. I need to see you again. That's it. Just say that and she is yours. Of course, if you were a real ass to her, if you treated her like shit, beat her up, acted like a pussy, if she caught you in bed with a man, then you probably should be on the Jerry Springer show. Otherwise it's easy. Being romantic doesn't mean that you're weak. After you've got them, romance will keep them. You have to be her fantasy, her knight in shining armor. That takes hard work. Another way to get her back is to send a single red rose to her house, no name, no card. Wait a week, send another one. This time with a card, with no name, that simply says, whenever I see these flowers, I think of you, and I have to send you one. Then you send her a third flower. Write on the card, no matter how many girls I see, I only see your face. Call me. 555-9087. She will call you because women love to hear I'm thinking about you. If you want a girl to trust you, it's easy. If you want her to love you, it's easy. Just tell her not to. Women never believe what you tell them. When I talk about honesty, trust, and respect, I might say something like, "But I don't want you to trust me yet." Trust has to be earned. When you feel you can trust me, you'll let me know. As soon as you tell her that you don't want her to trust you, she will. Guys ask me all the time, "How do you get a girl to swallow?" Too easy. One thing you can try is to tell her that no woman can make you come with her mouth. Tell her that lots of women have tried, but none have ever succeeded. Tell her something like that and she will rise to the challenge. Then, after she makes you come, you say, "Wow. You're amazing. Nobody has ever been able to do that." Because if you tell a woman that you can't come from a blowjob, something inside her will go, "Oh yeah. They like the challenge." Need input? One of my favorite jokes is a joke that can tell you a lot about the way you have to look at things. Two women meet in Florida. One has a married son, the other has a daughter that's married. So, the women bump into each other on the street, and one of them says to the other, "Helen, how are you? How's the family?" The other woman said, "My daughter just got married, she could have done better. He is nice to her and brings her groceries and stuff, but he still makes her do this and that and the other. He's not good enough for my daughter. And you, how is your son? He got married too. He married a real bitch, she makes him go to the grocery store, she makes him jump, she gives him shit. There's plenty for us out there. Women are everywhere. Buses, bookstores, planes, trains, everywhere. But you need to be the one driving. You say, 'Jump,' and they go, 'How high?' I am a gentleman, but I'm still a macho prick who grew up in the 70s and 80s. I'm a man, and she does what I like. If she doesn't like it, then there are other women out there. In my house there's a dictatorship, not a democracy. The same is true for my employees. My employees don't get to vote for what is right in my business. Why? Because that's the way I want to run my life. I know where I am going in my life, I know what I want for myself. 9. It's easy to get back the old ones, but I don't like to do that. If you want to get her back, I can tell you exactly what you do, and if you follow my explicit advice you'll get her back. But most of you should just let her go and move forward, because when you get her back you'll suddenly remember why you broke up in the first place. I find that the main reason men want to move backwards has to do with pride. Men have always had too much pride anyway, so no more. Life is a series of mistakes, and the quicker you can learn those tough lessons and move on. I was the first guy out of all my friends to get his own apartment. In those days, life was a little too good. I'd come home from work and there would be 3 or 4 girls there. I'd walk in and say, "Who's horny?" I'd fuck them before I even took a shower. Then a friend or 2 of mine would come over and I would ask, "Which one of you girls wants to fuck him, and which one wants to fuck my other friend?" All of my friends used to get laid in my apartment. Ah, the good old days. As a commodity, men don't look at the statistics. Men are more in demand than women are. They make us think it's the other way around, but it's not. But we're stupid, we think with our peckers. You shouldn't be afraid to ask for what you want. I like women who know how to cook, so I ask them if they know how to cook. Have her cook you a meal or 2 to find out. I also need to know how they live. Who is her roommate? Does she keep her house clean? I also need to meet her friends, and that's very important if you are looking to have a relationship with her. You are who your friends are. If she has a lot of single friends, you're in trouble. You're fucked, because her single friends will sabotage the relationship because they want her to remain single. Now, I don't want you to be me, I want you to be you. Start by being honest with yourself. They don't want a guy who is easy. See, we want a woman that's easy, but not them. If you go around saying, "Me too," you will lose them. They want a strong guy that makes them feel secure. Physical strength is irrelevant. You need to be mentally strong and know what you want to do in life. You need to be decisive. I am the dictator of my own life and my relationships. You can't rely on the woman to take good care of you. She wants you to be the strong one to take the lead. Not every woman is going to want to go where you want to go. But you should never have to compromise yourself for her. You should know what you want out of life and not be afraid to go get it. Women find this very attractive. Read Cosmopolitan and you'll see. The first thing women will say about a failing relationship is, "We just aren't communicating anymore." So make sure you say right from the beginning of the relationship that you need a woman that can communicate. Not only will this attract her initially, but this gives you great leverage later on. Guys ask me all the time how to deal with a girlfriend that flirts with other guys. Usually what they do is tell her to stop it. That rarely works, because she will think that you are too insecure. If your girlfriend is flirting with other men, then you should be picking up other women. If she's hunting, then you should be hunting. And if she complains, tell her to fuck off. Tell her that if she wants to flirt, then you are going to flirt. I've even gone as far as to leave with another woman right in front of her. Why wouldn't I? It's the smart thing to do. Many years ago, I was driving in my convertible with a woman, and all the truckers were staring at her because she just happened to have no shirt on. She put her boobs on display for everyone to enjoy. So we stopped at a gas station, and as I came out, this gorgeous woman asked me if I had any booster cables. She said that she just wanted to give her car back to her ex-boyfriend so that she could leave for Houston. So I told her that I could bring her to Houston, boosted her car and followed her to her ex-boyfriend's, where she left the car and hopped in with us. So now I had 2 women in my car, and they were both gorgeous. 10. On the way to Houston, we stopped for dinner, ate, and checked into a motel. I asked the guy at the motel, "Do you have a room with 1 big bed?" 2 small beds pushed together was the best he could do. The girls were helping me push the 2 beds together. I didn't ask if they felt comfortable with it, I just took the lead and assumed that they would both be sleeping with me. And they did. Now, the woman I picked up at the gas station was twice as good in bed as the other one, so I told her to wait for me in the hotel room. Then I went downstairs and told the clerk that it would take me 4 hours to drop off the other girl and come back, and asked him to let her stay in the room. He said okay, so I grabbed the girl and off we went. As I was driving her home, she asked me if I was dumping her and I said yes. I said, "Look, I'm sorry, but this new girl is better in bed." She started crying and begging me to give her another chance. Why did I do this to her? She got what she deserved for taking her shirt off in the beginning and flirting with all those truck drivers. Now, let's talk a little bit about a special breed of women that I call Klingons. Klingons are jealous, insecure, and very possessive. They never want you to look at other women, they want to be with you all the time, and they are very easily hurt. There's 2 ways you can handle a Klingon. In the beginning of the relationship, I like to tell Klingons that I'm the kind of guy that needs to be around women. I tell them that women are like flowers to me, and that I need to be in a florist shop. Can you handle me sleeping with another woman? I tell her that I have to sleep with other women. If she gives in and says yes, then you've handled her beautifully. If she says no, then you dump her. You're better off without her. I like to be honest with them up front to avoid any hassles later on. You will find that the Klingons will accept you sleeping with other women, if you tell them that you're sleeping with other women. That's because their worst nightmare is not that you sleep around with other women, their worst nightmare is not knowing about it. They find it so horrible to not know, that telling them the truth in advance actually reassures them. There's a lot of things you can do to keep them in line. I always love it when a woman licks my asshole because it gives me incredible leverage in the relationship. From then on, anytime she starts giving me a hard time, I just say, "A woman who licks my asshole doesn't talk to me that way." It's a lot better than a punch in the nose. What can she say? That I'm a pig? Hey, it wasn't my tongue down there. I want you to picture a room that has a shotgun, a machete, a machine gun, some dynamite, a few handguns, and the word friend in it. Because the word friend is one of her major weapons. It's the only weapon that can make you dance. Now, I know a lot of guys that are willing to hang out with women and pretend to be their friend and chase after them and follow them around to go shopping. I knew a guy who traveled halfway around the world to be a lady's friend. And he would watch her get dolled up to go out and sleep with other guys but couldn't do anything because they were friends. He was, of course, secretly in love with her, but was afraid to be himself, I guess. I'm glad that there are a lot of men like him in the world, because it means more women for me. Here is a big problem that a lot of you guys have. You talk about companionship. You talk about wanting to have a relationship with a woman, and then you talk about hot chicks, and how many you can or can't get. Which do you want? You have to go down road definite. You have to be congruent about whatever it is that you want, especially with women. When I was looking for a wife, I got my wife, I got my kids, and that's what I wanted. And when I wanted to be single, I wasn't out there looking for Ms. Perfect. I didn't think about anything other than fucking. In fact, fucking was my hobby. Different bodies, different styles, different ways. When I was young, I had a recurring fantasy about picking up a hitchhiker. So I did it. I picked up hitchhikers. I would say to them, I can't. 11. Believe this. I was just fantasizing about this exact same situation. Everything you're saying is exactly what I was fantasizing. This is so cool. They would say, really? They were amazed. I got so bored, and it was so easy that I started telling women that I worked for the CIA. The danger turns them on. I used to say, call me from the phone booth, and whatever you do, do not call me from your house. I had one woman wait for me at a phone booth for 4 straight hours. One time I had a date with a woman who seemed really nice and sweet on the phone, but as soon as she got in my car, she proceeded to tell me her schedule. She had to go to this restaurant in this part of town and her friends were gonna be there, and then we were gonna drive back this way and go to this hotel and stay for this amount of time and then to this club and on and on. So I said, did you feel that? And she said, what? I said, I think there's something unexpected happening with my car. She said, hey. So I pulled over and said, hop out and take a look at the back tire, and tell me if it looks flat. So she gets out of the car and says, it looks fine to me. And I said, maybe to you it does, and rode off. Because if I would have driven her around all night like she wanted me to, I would have been her puppy forever. I don't wear a leash for anybody. When it comes to women, never underestimate the power of denial. He drinks, he is angry, violent, treats her like shit, and even after all that she can convince herself that he loves her, and she stays. Women are actually willing to lie to themselves about the men they are with. Guys do it too, but women definitely beat us in that department. She stays for his strength, for the security she feels when she's with him. I would never dream of physically hurting a woman, and I've never hit a woman. I don't need to. I hit them with honesty, trust, and respect, and that works a lot better than a punch in the nose. If you offend a girl by being too honest and you sense she is turned off, then you will need to handle it. One way is to say, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, and she will usually calm down and say something like, that was pretty rude, and then I'll lower my voice completely and say, well, I really wasn't kidding. Laughter, you can test them like they test you. Wanna fuck? And if she responds well, you take her home, and if she gets all pissy, you tell her how you're just kidding. Actually, no. I'm not kidding. This is one that you can always come back to. Just kidding. No, I'm not. You always keep control of the situation. Control is vital. If she says, get the fuck away from me, you leave. You'll find that getting rejected rarely happens when you get out there and start being honest to women. Women are brought up to punish you when you've been bad. They punish by being bitchy and by withholding sex. If they try to punish me, I take control of the situation immediately. You're right, honey, I'm a pig, asshole, cocksucker, slimebag, sleazeball, piece of shit, inconsiderate, conceited jerk. By encouraging her bad behavior, you are taking control of it. I don't argue with them, because it's my way or the highway. If you get defensive, you are actually giving up control. If the relationship starts to get too fucked up, i.e., the sex isn't worth the hassle, don't waste your time trying to repair the relationship, just leave. Don't waste your time. When your car is giving you too many problems and you get fed up of fixing it, do you argue with the car for 8 more months just to see if it will get better with time? You stop investing your time and money on that car and start putting your energy into finding a better one. We all have different tolerance levels for how much crap we are willing to take in our relationships. I have a low tolerance for bullshit. I want what I want and I am unashamed by it. 12. Chapter 4. Honesty, Trust, and Respect. You're also entitled to change your mind about things. What's a good decision today won't necessarily be good for you tomorrow. When I wanted to be a playboy, I enjoyed that lifestyle. But eventually I thought, hey, I'm 45 and I want kids. So I got married again and had some kids. I don't want to be too old for them. And I was ready at that stage to stop being a player because I've done it all. I satisfied my thirst, and boy was I thirsty. And when it comes to respect, I respect a woman very, very much. And always. If I put my hand on her thigh, and she says no, I remove it immediately. You don't want my hand on your leg? Fine. I don't tease you like you're teasing me, but fine. If she says, I don't want to be with you, I cease hitting on her immediately, forever. Walking away from them is the easiest thing in the world. All you have to do is put one foot in front of the other until she's gone. Either that or pretend that she's gone. Who were we just talking about? A friend of mine had a verbal argument with his girlfriend. And this is a true story. She called the cops on him and had him removed from his own house, filed a restraining order on him, and he had to pay thousands of dollars in legal fees to get her to leave the house. Women have a lot of power, too. They can scream rape or any similar word and it could cost you your reputation. And let's face it, some women are crazy. If you want to be a playboy, you're gonna learn that the hard way. Honesty is the true north principle of seduction and seems to me to be the hardest one to teach. People just go, honesty. Okay, got it. Next, and then they want to hear the next pickup line or strategy. They don't work at learning how to integrate honesty into their lives. But the South Pole and the North Pole don't change, and neither do the main principles. Who cares what she thinks, and I am the most important person in this relationship. If you can learn those two rules, you've got it made and you will never need any outside help again. You will finally know exactly what to say to them and how to act with them. They love me because I'm honest. I'm more honest with them than most of you will ever be. I'm not telling you to be like me. Because my honesty and your honesty are two different animals. You can't be me, you can't be James Bond, you can't be them, so why even try? When you start to develop more and more self-honesty in yourself, you'll start to feel better, and when you start feeling better, the women will notice. You won't believe the responses you'll get from them. Honesty is a scary thing, and some of them can't handle the truth. Honesty, trust, respect. It's one thing to demand them from her, but can you master them yourself? Let me ask you another question. How can you be afraid of something that will set you free? We don't realize how we constantly lie to ourselves to protect our ego. Honesty, trust, and respect are true north principles that never change. They are part of the basic fabric of life. Honesty, trust, and respect are natural laws in the human dimension that are just as real as gravity and seasons and the rotation of our planet around the sun. They are unchanging principles, no exceptions. And when you violate the natural laws of relationships, you create disharmony. Do you have employees? The greatest force that you can use to motivate someone with is trust. Trust brings out the very best in people. But it takes time and patience, and it doesn't preclude the necessity to train and develop. It's very hard to train an employee if he or she doesn't trust you to some degree. And that's where the honesty comes in. When you're honest with people, they begin to trust you at their own rate and speed. They all say they want to meet a guy who's honest, yet they can't handle honesty. It's ironic. I like that. It puts me in the driver's seat. You're probably not getting them now, so how much less could you be getting them? Take a fucking chance. Try being totally honest with women. 13. I stopped counting at 500. I had stables, between 3 and 7 girlfriends simultaneously, from 1984 until 1989. People ask, did you tell your girlfriends about each other? And that's a good question. Now, early on in my life I discovered that women never believe what you tell them anyway, so you might as well tell them the truth. See, women are masters of self-deception. If they ask, what did you do last night, and you respond, I went out with another girl, she'll just say, yeah, what did you really do last night? The truth shall set you free. I often talk about the 3 most important values in a relationship. In order, they are honesty, trust, and respect. I like to ask women, what do you think are the most important values in a relationship? And usually they will tell me things like communication, respect, humor, etc. Wrong. And it's not open for discussion, either. So I'll say, you're almost right, but if they say, honesty, trust, and respect, I'll say, wow. You're the first one to hit it right on. Honesty, trust, and respect. Tell her that you enjoy being open and saying what's really on your mind. Tell her how much you enjoy thinking out loud. Tell her that it's important to you to be in a relationship with someone that you can really communicate with. Tell her that you're not the kind of person that holds back his feelings. And guess what? This is exactly the kind of thing that they are looking for. They want a guy that can communicate with them. One of their biggest complaints is that guys don't communicate with them. 90% of what therapists and divorce lawyers hear is, there's no communication. So, what's the smart thing to say to women? That you like to communicate. I went out with a girl who was the former Miss Montreal. She was gorgeous, When I used to take her out, all the rich hockey players and rock stars would turn their heads and stare at her. I ended up falling for her sister. She wasn't as cute, but she was twice as good in bed. Actually, I wanted to fuck all the sisters. One day she asked me if I planned on fucking her sisters. How do you answer a question like that? Simple. Be honest. I said, yes, but I'll leave your underage sisters alone. If a woman doesn't want you because you're a man, then she doesn't want you at all. And if you're afraid of being an honest man, then you're not ready to be successful with women. Being honest in the relationship does not mean that I have to reveal everything. I reveal what I want to reveal. I have given myself full permission to say and do whatever I please, and this includes having secrets. You think women don't keep secrets from us? I cannot stress the importance of being honest and upfront with the woman enough, especially in the beginning of the relationship. I like to tell them a story about a woman I once dated who woke me up to tell me something very important. She was the first woman I dated after I got divorced. She taught me the importance of giving somebody a fair chance. She told me that she felt that I wasn't giving her a clean slate, meaning that my responses to her were mixed because of all the leftover residue from my previous marriage. She was right. My responses to her were polluted with all the junk I had collected over the years, and I wasn't being fair to her. She taught me the importance of giving everyone a clean slate. It's important to give everybody a fair chance in the beginning of the relationship. I tell them right off the bat that I don't play games and that I want an open and honest relationship. I ask her if she can handle that. If she hesitates, then I put her on the defensive. I tell her that she should know what she wants, and that perhaps she should think it over and get back to me. Maybe she should make me a contract now so that there are no hard feelings and arguments later on. They don't want a pussy, they want a man. It doesn't matter what she thinks, because honesty, trust, and respect are always going to be more important than anything else that she says anyway. By being honest, you earn trust. And there are only two kinds of respect, fear and admiration. I'll take what I can get. 2 rules, not 200. I'm giving you 2 rules. Not 200. 2. Who cares what she thinks, and you are the most important person in the relationship. And at first, they sound like 2 very stupid rules. But every time you hear them, they 14. Start to make more and more sense to you. If you don't care what she thinks, then your fears are gone. And if you truly believe that you are the most important person in the relationship, then you start to take responsibility for your own life. It forces you to be strong, decisive, honest, and congruent. What you decide is up to you. I'm not telling you to be me, I'm telling you to be you. You're not being rude to her by not caring what she says. There's a facade of nonsense that people put out, and you don't know if they're playing games or fucking with you. These 2 rules are your shield from all that shit. These rules really have a way of cutting through all the crap. Men are free until they get married, and women are free when they get married. Once I was dating this girl who said, either we have to get married, or I won't sleep with you anymore. And I felt bad. Here was this woman telling me that she loves me, that she wants to spend the rest of her life with me. She wanted all of me, and if I couldn't give that to her, then she would leave me forever. A lot of guys actually got stuck that way. They fell for that line. But what was this woman really saying to me? She was really saying, do what I say, puppy. Marry me so that I can use sex to control you for the rest of your life. Now, if you had a harem of 5 or 6 women, and a woman said that to you, what would you say? Goodbye. A lot of guys are afraid to look at the women that attract them. They're afraid she might get upset. If I'm watching a porno movie, if I feel like it, I might start jerking off. Do I care what the TV thinks? I don't care what anybody thinks. Period. When I say who cares, I live it. If she can't handle me looking at her, what the fuck do I want her for? When you want seafood, and you go out to a restaurant, and they don't have seafood on the menu, you leave. Same thing. If a slut doesn't have what I want on her menu, I don't try to accommodate her. I don't care. Tell me to fuck off anytime. Try me. I don't care. If you don't care, you can just let go and have a good time. What do I have to lose if they get offended? I can only gain. When you're trying to pick up a chick, no matter what you do, you can only gain. You can't have less than 0. If you care what they think of you, then you can't go further. And if you can't be honest and straightforward about what you want, you can't succeed with women. This whole book is just a way of explaining the 2 rules. It always comes back to the 2 basic rules. If you can integrate those 2 rules into your life, it frees you from fear prison. I'm the most important person in my relationships, my rules rule. I don't live by your rules, I live by my rules. If a woman starts telling me all these rules about how far she can go on the first date and the second date and on, I might turn to her and say, "Can I get a copy of all those rules now please, because I'd like a spontaneous relationship, and if you have all these rules that I can't touch you until a certain period of time has elapsed, or something equally ridiculous, then I need to know what they are now, not in 6 months from now." And while we're at it, since we're giving out rules, I've got a few of my own. Don't play games with these women. One of the things women have always told me that they like about me is that I listen to them. See, most guys think that they listen, but they are not listening. Guys are always interrupting them to give advice and help, and guys are constantly getting in their way. A lot of men try to take responsibility for the woman's problems, and guess what? That's impossible. Who cares what they say? You can listen to them, but don't ever get caught up with whatever they are saying to you. Just listen to them. They want you to hear them, that's all. This is great news. From now on you are free from having to solve all those stupid little problems that are freaking them out. Just listen, and let her get it all out. Don't get involved in all of her little dramas. One of the reasons they are looking for a man is because men are supposed to be more emotionally stable than women. Men are a lot more logical, sometimes, and less emotional than women are. We're supposed to be strong for them. They don't want a pussy, they want a strong man. Not a macho man, not an asshole, they want a strong guy. How do you make yourself strong? By not caring what they think. By knowing that no matter what happens, the most important person you need to look out for is you. 15. When you really start succeeding with women, some of them are going to try to give you a hard time about it. But if you truly don't care what they say, then you're free from all that shit. If a broad tries to give you a hard time about anything, the worst thing you can do is get defensive and try to convince her of your sincerity. I remember this one girl who started in on me about my reputation as a player. I didn't argue, I told her that everything people say about me is true. What can she say? She is stuck. I'm not going to argue with her. In this culture, we spend so much time thinking and arguing when we could be fucking. The most important person in the relationship is you, but you still need to ask women what their rules are in a relationship. You're better off finding out what her rules are now, because women have some strange and limiting rules. And don't get caught up in a big debate about the rules either. It's my way or the highway. Who cares what they think? If she doesn't want me, then maybe she knows someone that might and could introduce me to her. She can't fuck until after the 7th date? Fine. Maybe you know someone who is a little less rigid. I tell women that I have one major rule. My way, or the highway. No hard feelings, it's just the way I like it. If you can find a guy that better suits your needs, then go for it. Because my rules are not negotiable. I know what's best for myself and I know what I want in a woman. And if I am not being reasonable, know that if you leave me, at least you will be able to tell people that I wasn't a reasonable man. I'll even give you a letter of recommendation saying that I wasn't a reasonable man. I don't care about what anybody thinks of me. I love the way I am. I like myself. I have evolved into the kind of person that I like, and if I were a woman, I would want to be with me very much. You have to learn to make your rules and stick to them no matter what. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Be relentless. Don't make excuses, don't get lazy, and don't make exceptions. I once dated a girl who told me that she only lets her boyfriends fuck her 12 times a year. She actually told me this seriously. She said that if a guy is smart, he will fuck her once a month, because if he uses up his 12 fucks right away, he will have to wait until the next year to get sex again. So, I fucked her 4 times a day for 3 days and then I said goodbye. She asked, "Where are you going?" I told her that since I had already used up my 12 tickets, then there was no point in sticking around any longer. I told her that it was okay, that I respected her rules and wasn't going to ask for another fuck, and after all, did she really expect me to beg? She ended up chasing me for the next 5 years. Why? Because I make the rules, not them. I don't care what they think. I'm not getting into relationships to make women happy, I do what I want on my terms, otherwise it's goodbye. And the paradox is that it's my kind of attitude makes them go crazy for you. They want a strong man, they don't want a pussy. Think for yourself. They are testing you and trying to wrap you around their little fingers, and as soon as you get lazy, as soon as you start making exceptions to your own rules, they lose respect for you. The worst thing you can say to a woman is me too. Me too is called ass kissing where I come from. Never ever kiss a woman's ass. You guys have it all wrong, by the way. It's not the jerks that are getting all the women and the nice guys that are getting none. It's that the jerks display confidence and the nice guys display weakness. I think that a nice confident guy can get all the women he needs. You don't have to deliberately act like a jerk to get women. It's sad because a lot of guys believe that. Of course, it's debatable that some women aren't satisfied with a guy unless he abuses her, but who would want her? Never tell a woman that one of her friends is better looking than her. I tell you to be honest, not stupid. She will never forget it and she will punish you for it. And what about the dreaded, "Do I look fat?" question? Tell her the truth. Honey, I'm not comfortable answering that question. Seduce. What I am about to share with you now is worth a lot of money. When a woman asks me what my dick's name is, I tell her it's better. Meet better. Almost every girl names her tits. So ask them, they're so beautiful, what are 16 their names? When she asks me about my dick, I say better. Wanna kiss better? How about fuck better? How about suck better? Come and taste better? Hug better? Sometimes it's better. That's about as subliminal as I ever get. Most guys couldn't care less. They're so busy trying to impress her that they never take the time to find out who they're trying to fuck. It's important that you be genuinely curious about her. And you can't fake that. I really am genuinely curious because I want to find out now if she's good for me. I'm an investigator. While I talk to her, she tells me everything I need to know to seduce her. I don't like the word seduction, by the way. I don't like it because it implies trickery, manipulation, and deceit. My rules are honesty, trust, and respect. What do you do for fun? What kinds of things did you do when you were a little girl? Who's your best friend? Why is she/he your best friend? Who's your favorite relative? Why? What's your grandmother's name? What's the thing you are most proud of in your life? Why? Have you ever been embarrassed? Do you have any pets? What's his name? You've got to be able to make eye contact, you've got to be flattering, and it's better for her to know that you are making eye contact and to know that you want her. Why fuck around? A lot of guys will look at a pretty girl that they like and turn away when she notices. She's already scared him, yet she hasn't done anything scary. If you can't even look at her, how can you make her interested in you? Give the girl and yourself a chance. It should be you intimidating them. What you do with your eyes is extremely important. You have to know how to use your eyes, and women can tell a lot about you by looking into your eyes. Now, the first rule of eye contact is look wherever the fuck you want. If you want to look at her tits, then look at her tits. Does she have a nice ass? Does her crotch turn you on? Then look at it. You can't be afraid of them. They don't want a pussy. And if they see you staring and they start to have a hissy fit, let them. When a woman tells me not to look at her breasts, I stare harder. I don't care what she thinks. Why did she put on those tight clothes? So that I wouldn't look at her. I look at whatever the fuck I want to see, and if she doesn't like it she can kiss my ass. I'm a man. I'm supposed to get turned on by beautiful women. Not looking at them is an insult. I like to travel on the road of efficiency. Rather than talking, I want to be fucking. Very early on in the conversation I like to ask them if they have their own place. If they live with their parents or have roommates, I ask them if they've ever gone to a motel with a boyfriend. And if they say, "Oh no, never, I'm not that kind of girl," I say, "See ya. I'm not going to waste all of my time and money only to have her say, I can't go to a motel." If they say yes, then I presume that since she's done it before, she'll do it again. I'm not shy when it comes to asking questions, and if they want to know why I'm asking, I'm not shy to tell them why. There's nothing wrong with being interested in a woman. A lot of guys ask me how long they should wait before they call her when they get her number. And the answer is always going to be, whenever you want. Sometimes I call them right away, sometimes I never call them. Sometimes I even call her the same night, unless I'm fucking somebody else. Or I call her when I'm with somebody else. If I'm fucking somebody else, but I'm thinking about her, and I want to call her, then I call her and tell her that I'm with somebody else and I'm thinking about her. I'm a truthful guy. Why would I want to start a relationship off with a woman by lying to her? And a woman likes to hear that, by the way. I'm with somebody else and all I can see is your face. It's romantic. They love to hear that you're thinking about them. Keep in mind that ugly women fuck better. There's this saying, if you want to be happy, make an ugly woman your wife. Also, what they drink reveals a lot of information about what kind of person they are. If she's sitting at a bar drinking whiskey, then she'll probably fuck you. If they only drink beer, it's a good sign. After 6 beers, they're yours. If she goes out to a bar and drinks 6 beers, then she fucks. And if she's petite, then it's 3 beers. Especially nowadays, because the alcohol content in beer is so high now. We didn't have 6.7% when I was growing up. 17. Is it the hunt that you want, or do you want the prey? A lot of guys prefer the hunt, but I like to capture. I like to tame them. I'm a cowboy at heart. We're all animals anyway. Cow, horse, snake, pig, whale, fish, bird, man, woman. Isn't man the dominant creature on this planet? They never said, "Well man," did they? We're born to know this, yet we're afraid of women. I remember going away with a girl one weekend and we had so much sex that we didn't sleep for 3 days. When I came back I had to stay in bed a full 24 hours for that one. She was wild. They don't want us to fear them, they want us to nurture them, take care of them, hunt for them, and protect them. They want us to romance them and they want us to fuck them. They need to feel that we're stronger than they are, so that they can just let go and blossom into the beautiful creatures that they were meant to be. If I'm sitting in a bar talking with a girl, picking her up, only to discover that her boyfriend is around, I might say something like this to her: "Are you here doing whatever you want, trying to tease me, or do I have a possibility of leaving with you tonight?" I'm a straight shooter. I never want to get in the middle of a couple's fight. Here's a simple test for you to use on a woman to find out if she really wants you or is just using you to piss off her boyfriend and make him jealous. Just ask her, "Are you swingers?" Because the women he's looking at and the guys you're looking at made me wonder. Now, if she goes, "Who is he looking at?" then you know they're just teasing each other, so stop wasting your time on her. Don't get in the middle of that shit. Don't spend a lot of money until you're committed to her. It's a sign of weakness if you spend too much on the first date. If you didn't know that, then you really do need to read this book. Only spend what you want to spend. I like to ask them where they want to go, to get a feel of what type of girl I am dealing with. If she wants to go to a classy restaurant, I take her to my favorite burger joint. If she complains, then now I know ahead of time that she isn't for me. Because if she's already whining, it will only get worse. I remember talking to this gorgeous woman once and I asked her what was the nicest thing she's ever done for a boyfriend. And she said that on her ex-boyfriend's birthday, she brought a friend over and they both fucked him. I said, "My birthday is tomorrow." They aren't looking for the same things in us that we look for in them. They're not obsessed with looks the way we are. And they're giving us lots of signals that we don't pick up on. I have a friend who met this girl in the bar of a hotel. He was charming and funny. She liked him and gave him her room number and walked upstairs. So what did he do? He called her on the phone, over and over, and she never answered. She was probably lying in bed naked, wondering when he's going to show up. You have to pay attention to a woman's signals. If you're too dumb to notice, then ask her. "Are you giving me any signals that I'm too stupid to pick up on?" They love the honesty. They're not expecting you to be honest with them, and as soon as you are, they fall apart. They let go of their defenses and begin to fall for you. If you're talking to her for 10 minutes and you can't figure out how to get her into the bedroom, just say, "I've been talking to you for 10 minutes and I'm trying to figure out how to get you into the bedroom." They all say they want a spontaneous guy, but if you're spontaneous they become afraid of you. And there are 2 kinds of respect: fear and admiration. I'll take what I can get. By the way, don't tell her that you want a relationship too soon unless you know for sure that she wants one too. Let them worry about you. And if they tell you they're not ready for a relationship, it's bullshit. If her favorite actor walked in, she would make herself ready. If she tells you she's not ready for a relationship, go to chapter control. When you're with a new woman in a car, don't hold her hand like every other guy does and play finger fucking with her. Instead, hold her wrist gently. They like it. Plus, you're going to use this later on when you'll say, "I guess you like me." And she will say, "How do you know I like you?" "Well, I was feeling your pulse when we were talking. I did excite you a little bit." And whether or not she agrees with you is irrelevant, because inside she will be amazed. You are being so sensitive to her feelings. 18. Guys often ask me, "How do you close the deal?" But when I meet a girl, I'm not thinking about closing her. Because closing the deal with her and getting her to go out with me is not the prize. The prize is me. Sometimes I tell them that I've already had the fantasy of having them in bed with me, so they might as well go out with me. Whenever a man looks at a woman, he mentally fucks her. That is a fact. In order to find out if he has an attraction for her, he has to just briefly, momentarily mentally fuck her. Since you are already mentally fucking her, then just tell her. Don't say, "Baby, I am mentally fucking you," because that's too crass. I can get away with talking like that, but if you're just a rookie getting started, then you won't be able to handle the various responses you'll get. Use words like fantasizing, making love, enjoying. You be a gentleman about it. Women like romance and they like humor, so let them have it. If you ask a woman out and she says, "I'm sorry, but I have a boyfriend," just tell her, "I'm sorry, too, so let's get together and be sorry together." Because she is telling you that she is sorry she has a boyfriend. Take it literally. It also depends on where you meet them. If she is walking out of an apartment building with her hair all messed up and says, "Sorry, but I have a boyfriend," maybe she just got fucked, so you're not going to pick her up today. But if she's at a bar with her girlfriends and says that she has a boyfriend, it's a bar. Just say, "Look, I'm sorry, but a girl like you, in a bar, you're so gorgeous and hot. If I was your boyfriend, you wouldn't be out in this bar all by yourself tonight." Just tell her what you're thinking. I do enjoy staring at women's boobs. Most guys are afraid to, but not me. I just dive right in there. Why do you think they dress that way? So you won't look? I love it when they call me on it, too. They go, "What are you staring at?" And I say, "I'm glad you asked me that question, because if you didn't notice what I was noticing, you've got to see my eye doctor." Why else would they wear high heels and lingerie and push-up bras? I'm not being rude, I'm just showing her my appreciation. And if they start to give me a hard time about it, good. It just becomes another opportunity for me to show them how honest and straightforward I am. Sometimes they go, "Well, I didn't put on makeup for you," and I go, "I can believe that. Because it's obvious that she didn't put it on for me." Try this line. This line works like a charm. After you've started kissing her for the first time, say, "I don't want to have a meaningless sexual encounter. If I go home with you, I want to wake up the next morning and make you breakfast. If I can't make you breakfast, then I don't want to go with you." First of all, I'm telling her what I want, and second, I'm telling her that it's not going to be a one-night stand. I am not telling her that I want a long-term monogamous relationship either. Just breakfast. It's very romantic. The worst thing that a woman can ask me is, "What are you thinking about?" Because I tell them, "I was thinking about doing you and your friend Natasha." How many guys do you know that tell women the truth? Practically none. I am free to think what I want when I want to think it. Sometimes women ask me to tell them about myself, and I tell them I think I'm the greatest guy in the world. I'm a nice guy, I'm smart, I'm funny, I'm great in bed, I know where I'm going in life, I like my personality, and if I was a woman I would definitely want me. And they go, "You're so conceited." And I go, "You asked me to tell you about myself. Why should I give you a bad recommendation? If you're gonna write a recommendation about yourself, you'd be crazy not to write the best recommendation in the world." That's what I do. I tell them that I think I'm the greatest guy in the world. What, should you tell them that you're kind of okay? Fuck that. If a woman wants to know what you're thinking, she's yours. Why else would they want to know what you're thinking about? Same thing if a woman blushes. If you can make her blush, she's going home with you tonight. A lot of you are getting plenty of signals from women that you're not noticing. "David, what are you thinking about?" "I was just trying to remember what I have in the fridge, because if you came home with me tonight I'd like to cook you a nice breakfast in the morning. I was thinking of what it would be like to give you an orgasm. I was just thinking about how different your voice would sound if we were cuddled up in front of the fireplace. I was just imagining how nice it would be to take a shower with you." Whatever. 19. What women want. Women don't look at us the same way that we look at them. Men are primarily into looks, and women want us to be confident. So it should be easier for us to get laid than it is for them. Because if a woman is ugly, she gets the bottom of the barrel. If a man is ugly, he gets the bottom of the barrel unless he has confidence. If he has confidence, he can pick and choose. Women don't look at us the same way that we look at them. Men are primarily into looks, and women want us to be confident. So it should be easier for us to get laid than it is for them. Because if a woman is ugly, she gets the bottom of the barrel. If a man is ugly, he gets the bottom of the barrel unless he has confidence. If he has confidence, he can pick and choose. What I'm doing with women is more honest than what any of these other guys are doing. If, by chance, you meet somebody that you fall in love with, someone you'd like to spend a lot of time with, or whatever woman fits your perception of what you want, all the more power to you. I'm not bonking her on the head and dragging her in off the street. You have to be honest with people, that's all. And if you can do that, you've got it made. Not every chick is going to want you. Some chicks are fixated on tall men, and if you're not 6'5", she won't even consider going out with you. Some women only want a guy if he's wealthy. They even give seminars on how to attract the rich. Some women only like to date their own kind, so if you're not Jewish or white or Australian or whatever, they want nothing to do with you. Can you turn her around? With enough effort you might be able to, but why would you want her? I have a friend that only likes fat ugly women. That's what he likes. He's had more than his fair share of offers from beautiful women, but he doesn't like them. What he finds beautiful is very different from what you or I would find beautiful. I'm glad there are people like him in this world, because that means that there really is somebody for everybody. How much time should you spend with your girlfriend? 7 days a week? 1 day a week? It all depends on how much you feel like being with her. If you only see her once a week, chances are that you will lose her. You can't be lazy. You reap what you sow. You have to know how much she wants to see you, and then give her a bit less. You can't put them on the once a week plan, because if you take them for granted you will be doing what every other guy does. One of the top complaints women have against men is laziness. He used to do all kinds of little romantic things for her and now he stopped. You have to be different than those other guys out there. You have to be you. If you can't fuck her more than once a week, leave her for somebody else. Why do we look at dirty pictures? Why do we call them dirty pictures? I had so much porn on my hard drive that I had to get a CD burner. I love porn, it's one of my hobbies. I only save the picture if I can see the cunt and the tits. If the woman in the picture is turned away, I delete it. I have to see the whole package. I used to have an Italian friend who loved fucking fat chicks. The bigger the better. I had another friend who got off on pregnant women. I'd feel like I was fucking the poor kid in the face. Did you ever fuck a woman when she is having her period? Of course today you can't even think about doing that anymore. The STDs are too deadly nowadays. And what about all of this animal porn? Call me crazy, but I'm probably never going to get in bed with a woman who's just been fucked by a German Shepherd. I saw a movie clip of a chick sucking on a horse's cock. The horse came in buckets all over her. I don't think I want to kiss her that day, or ever again. How about S&M? I don't really want to see a guy cutting a woman's nipples off. It doesn't do it for me. What the hell do women want, anyway? Funny, they all seem to read Cosmopolitan, so I did. It is so simple. First, they want a sense of humor. And it's funny because all the guys that I have met that want to learn from me about how to pick up women must already have a great sense of humor. That's why I can't understand why they aren't out there succeeding. All you guys obviously have a great sense of humor, because you are all so used to laughing at yourselves to be able to live with rejection. 20. Humor is the #1 key to getting laid. And being funny is so easy. All humor has some form of exaggeration in it. It's not the joke that's crude, it's what the exaggeration is. You should be able to laugh at anything. 2. They want a man. They do not want a pussy, okay? Let's look at the old caveman days. In those days they wanted a man to lead them, hunt for them, and protect them. Well, guess what? They still do. That will never change. They don't want to be abused, and they don't want to be physically hurt. And be careful guys, because those issues are common in their minds today. Notice that I don't ask women what they like and then try to fulfill it. I tell them. And they always go, yeah, you're right. Me too. Actually, the worst thing you can say to a woman is me too. Where I come from, that is called ass kissing. And women don't want an ass kisser. Women are so jealous of each other. If you are seen with a beautiful woman, you will have instant popularity with all the other women. If you bring a rare beauty home with you only to discover that she stinks in bed, use her as bait. Another thing that women love are guys that are spontaneous. So, as I am talking to them I say, you know, I have to tell you something. After my last relationship went sour, a friend of mine took me to see a psychic. I don't really believe in that shit, but my friend kept on insisting so I went. And the psychic told me that my next relationship is gonna start off being completely sexual, and that over time it will probably turn out to be a fabulous relationship. But I have to find a woman who is spontaneous enough and has the guts to go through with it. You're going to enjoy the outcome of telling them that, boy, let me tell you. Because the challenge intrigues them to no end. Typically I will then add, but I know that we've just met, and I don't know if you are the kind of person that would be interested in something like that. People typically respond well to challenges, and women are people. I have a friend that married a gorgeous woman, who I consider to be a solid 9. You won't hear me say that very often, but she was very appealing. Blonde hair, blue eyes, nice face, killer body, she was hot. Anyway, after they had been married for a while, they obviously were starting to drift apart, and I knew it because she started spending more and more time with some of her divorce friends. So I told my friend to expect to get divorced very soon. He said, "What are you talking about?" And I said, "Listen. She is hanging around with all these single broads. See, women don't wish for good things to happen to other women. Men are the opposite. If I introduce a woman to a buddy of mine and he gets laid as a result, I feel good. I feel like a father who just helped his son. Women are like cats. She's got a man, I want him. I'm divorced and unhappy, so I want her to be divorced and unhappy." Girls are almost always competing with each other, and you don't need to be a shrink to figure that out. A lot of you have been told that you should never compliment a woman on her looks. How stupid. Because if you don't tell her that you find her appealing, you are lying. I don't lie. I don't tell them everything, but I don't out and out tell them a lie. She knows that you want to fuck her. And you want her to know this right from the beginning. She knows why you're talking to her. Women often say, men are only interested in one thing. Sometimes I'll reply, yeah, mostly. And she'll ask, what are the other things? My reply? Doing you and your friend. Now, most of you are laughing, and probably you wouldn't have the guts to say something like that. But I'll tell you, women do not want a shy guy. They don't. If they did, you wouldn't have bought my book. They want a man who can care for and protect them. We're born to know this. You should see what I do to my friends' secretaries. Actually, there's one in particular that really strikes my fancy. She's got big tits, nice Italian girl, cute. So I'll look at her with a huge grin on my face. She'll go, "Why are you 21? Smiling." I say, "I'm just finishing fucking you, can you hold on a minute please?" You should see them blush when you throw them a line like that. I say stuff like that to her all the time. So as she was blushing, my wife walked in, so I said, "Honey, this is the one I was telling you about, the one that always makes passes at me." I tell her, if I could convince my wife, I'd do you both together. That's the kind of stuff I say to women. I say the truth and I'm relentless about the truth. People know exactly what I'm thinking. My friends are always asking me, "What do you do to my secretaries?" Whenever you show up, it lights up their whole day. Sometimes the women go, "But David, you're married." I go, "What, you don't think I can handle 2 women?" There are 3 guys that the women go for first. Millionaires, rock stars, and actors. And they all have one thing in common, lots of money. You could be a millionaire who is nothing but a stupid, ugly, dishonest, alcoholic, abusive, unfaithful, smelly, diseased piece of shit that has absolutely no sense of humor and still get lots of women. The rest of us have to take what's left. The good news is that there aren't very many millionaires, rock stars, and actors. Most men would be screwed if there were. This desire for money stems from a natural need for safety and security. In this culture we tend to equate safety and security with money instead of deriving those feelings from our abilities. We forget that it's not money that makes the world turn. If you have a daughter, you probably want her to end up with someone that can take care of her and keep her safe financially. Ever read a romance novel? All women have a fantasy in their minds about the kind of man they want to be with. A lot of those fantasies go unfulfilled for the most part. Just start doing little cute romantic things for her every once in a while. Go to the dollar store and get a teddy bear keychain, for example. Give it to her and tell her that when you saw it, you had to buy it because it made you think about her. Women love to hear, "I was thinking about you." They all want a strong man, someone who knows what he wants. You can have what you've always wanted in a woman, but you have to be strong, and you need to stop being so afraid to go for what you want. You can't care about what they think. This is so important. It has nothing to do with being an asshole. It has to do with doing what you want. Most men have no idea how much they hide their real selves from women. They don't say what's really on their mind, and they end up behaving stupidly around women to make up for it. They are the ones honking horns as they drive by or staring at the women instead of talking to them. Women complain all the time that men can't be honest, they can't communicate, and they aren't romantic enough. When I lived in Texas, I went to a psychiatrist for 2 years, because at the time, I couldn't understand why all these women wanted to marry me. In Texas, the men out there are macho, beer-guzzling assholes, and the women out there are starved for romance. Those guys would rather eat their meat, drink their beer and fart all night. Not me. I'd rather be with a beautiful woman. Women can smell it when you're fucking somebody else. I don't know how they know, but they always know. And that's okay because women are good at being in denial. And I always tell them that I go with other women. They never believe what you say anyway. Even if they believe me, they always appreciate the honesty. Go out and read a few romance novels. It's punishment, it's torture, but do it anyway. They will teach you a lot about women and romance. Something will click and you will have a whole new understanding of women. My wife doesn't understand why I love to watch Star Trek. I love Star Trek. I can watch the Three Stooges and enjoy myself, but women don't like the Three Stooges. It's not their thing. Check out a few chick flicks, watch a soap opera, and read a romance novel or two. It will help you. These books are written by women for women. It will teach you about the illusion, the romantic movie that women want you to act out. They are not looking for the book because it's already firmly installed in their minds. What they need is an actor. 22. Chapter 6. Thinking out loud. It's very important for you guys to make up your mind about what you want in life and be congruent about pursuing it. That alone is enough to get women to start noticing you. If you need a pickup truck, you don't look at sports cars. And if you need a sports car, you don't go looking at vans. Life is a bunch of choices, and if you're out there saying to the broad, "Hey, listen, I'm a wuss, I can't make up my mind, and I have no idea what I want for myself, and I'm trying to pick you up to maybe see if you're what I want." Yet this is exactly what a lot of you guys are doing. If you had to be a word, would you choose to be the word yes or the word maybe? A lot of you guys are walking maybes, and it's costing you the women of your dreams. When I talk to a woman that I'm attracted to, I talk about sex. And whatever response she gives me, I try to turn the conversation right back on track by using her response. When I was interested in having sex, I went straight towards the women I wanted to have sex with and talked about sex with them. Every story I tell them has sex in it somewhere. It's simple. I am getting her mind to associate sex with me. Because all I want from her is sex. And whether they like me or not, they're gonna want to fuck me. I also tell them how much I like myself. I'll say something like, "You know, I have a great sense of humor, my attitude is incredible, I'm smart, charming, and I'm also dynamite in other areas, but I don't want to discuss them now." And the very act of telling her that is humorous. It shows that you have a good attitude, that you're smart, charming, and whatever else. This is not conceited. Why wouldn't you give yourself a good recommendation? When you go to a job interview, do you walk in and say, "Hi, I'm an asshole, I'm dishonest, I'm lazy, and I usually screw everything up"? Competence breeds confidence. There's a lot of people trying to use techniques in order to feel more confident, but it won't work unless you develop your competence simultaneously. And you won't have my kind of confidence after you put down this book. You will only get confidence as you use what I'm teaching you, as you get results in any slow way you wish. I wish I could just give it to you, but you're going to have to earn it the old-fashioned way. Another way to help increase your competence is to go out and read a few books. Study the cunt. I know more about their cunts than they do. When I discuss sex with a woman, I come to the table with knowledge. I know everything about her body, her sexuality. You can even start your conversation with her by saying something like, "I know so much about the clitoris, you'd never believe how much I know about sex. Go ahead and ask me any question. Ask me something you think only women would know." Start off a conversation like that, and if you're not fucking her by the end of the night, then it's safe to say you're an idiot. I have a friend that uses this line. Excuse me, I seem to have lost my number. Can I get yours? This is the stupid shit that guys are actually saying to women. I'm glad, because it makes my life a lot easier. If I could actually pick up a dumb broad with a stupid line like that, then everybody is already fucking her. She's so dumb, she'd fuck cardboard, okay? Using a dumb pickup line like that isn't charming, it's just stupid. The first thought that enters a woman's mind when you use a line like that is, this guy is a loser. You might as well cut your penis off and hand it to her, because you won't be needing it. I don't play games. My cards are out on the table of life. There's no subliminal messages with me. Women go out because they want to meet a guy. Have that conversation with her. Ask her why she's out. It's not to be with her friends, it's not to play pool, it's not to make guys buy her a drink. She's out there looking for a man. The kind of man that'll make her feel good, make her feel safe, special, wanted. She's waiting for you. I'm not telling you to do anything brilliant. You just have to have the balls to say, I know what I want. 23. Use that to start a conversation. Just walk up and say, I know what I want. Do you know what you want? If she says yes, you say, my name is underscore 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 dot. Here's one that will always work. Walk up to her and ask, do you like stupid idiots that have no direction in life and are afraid to take risks? Of course, she'll say no. Then you say, that's good, because I'm the opposite of all that. How many do you want? Am I gonna have to write a fucking book on pickup lines? It's so easy. Just say what you're thinking, say the truth, and put a little effort into it, that's all. When you learn to be true to yourself, you'll never need to read another pickup chicks book again. Some men have actually looked me straight in the eye and told me that the reason they can't get women is because they don't like themselves. Do you jerk off? There's two kinds of people in this world. Those who jerk off, and liars. And even if they're telling you the truth, you gotta think that there's something wrong with them if they can't jerk off. Now, when you masturbate, you are giving yourself pleasure with your own hand. Of course you love yourself. There's another line you can use. The only other person that I want touching my dick, besides me, is you. You always need to direct where the conversation goes, and you can't get lazy. Don't be shy to ask her a million questions. Where do you live? Do you have roommates? What are they like? Do you get along with your parents? Any brothers? Any sisters? How old is your sister? I want to know as much as I can about her as soon as I can. Life is short, and I don't have time to fuck around. And if she asks why I ask so many questions, I tell her. I know so much about them so soon that they feel like I've known them forever. What food do you like to eat? Can you cook? I always dreamed of having a gorgeous girl like you cook for me. If she smokes, she fucks. And if she plays with her straw a lot, she gives good head. Those two theories have never failed me. Sometimes I used to walk up to women that were smoking a cigarette and say, hi. I just have to ask you a question, because I have this theory about women. Do you have a boyfriend? Yes. Then what are you doing here? Because the way you smoke, you should be good in bed. Now, if I'm right, and she really is good in bed and knows it, that usually gets me into bed with them. And if she'd say, no, I don't have a boyfriend, I'd say, well, I have this theory that if a woman smokes, she fucks, and she's very good at it too. If you're charming, you can get away with almost anything. What is she gonna say? That I'm crude? You're right, I am crude, but I like to get to the point. I don't want you to think I'm beating around the bush. A lot of women can't handle honesty. The best defense is an attack. I never defend, I never step back. I attack, I put them on the defensive. Oh. You think I'm a crude pig? Yeah. You're right about that, I agree with you. You're so perceptive. You're a really nice woman. I wouldn't insult you, because I'm too much of a gentleman. I was just being honest with her. I didn't say, I want to fuck you. I'm so honest with them and I use everything they say, and pretty soon they apologize to me. Or they walk away. It doesn't matter to me. Because I'm ready for anything. When I go out, I don't care about anybody but myself. When you go out, do you say to yourself, I'm going to go out and give somebody a wonderful time? It doesn't matter if I have a good time or not, but somebody else is going to have a good time. Or do you think, I'm going out to have a good time? Who the fuck cares if they have a good time? You'll probably never see them again. Hello? Who's going out of the house to have a good time? You or them? Say this, I'm going out of the house to have a good time. Me myself. I can only be responsible for myself. We're so afraid of the word selfish. I'm not selling any fish. We're afraid to admit to ourselves that we are allowed and really do deserve to have a good time. Some of my students actually look at a pretty girl and think, I don't want to ruin her time. She doesn't go out thinking that you are going to have a good time and not her. You guys have the wrong perception. You're so worried of what she's going to think of you, that she won't like you, and it's wrong to think that way. You're thinking about what somebody that you haven't met before is thinking. Think about that. You're worried about someone that you haven't met yet. 24. I like to tell the bitchy ones, isn't it better to try me before you just throw me away? I never put my head in the sand. Nothing pushes me back, and I don't retreat. Because whether she wants me or not, I can always jerk off. If they say no, then it's no. I never harm them, and I never threaten them. If I can't get her interested in me with my charm and my honesty, then I don't want her. I only want to be with women who want me. It's my way or the highway. Approaching groups of women is easy. I like to compliment all of them at the same time. I'll say something like, you know, it's amazing. Beautiful girls all stick together. Please, just let me pretend for a moment that this is my harem. Then I'll close my eyes, smile, and sing, Heaven. I'm in heaven. I try to do something cute like that. If you like one particular woman in the group, then you need to arm yourself with great ammunition. And the ammunition you need is her friends. If her friends like you, you're in. If they hate you, you're out. If they like you, they'll encourage her to go out with you. And that's if they don't try to steal you away for themselves. Now, if you only talk to her and try to ignore her friends, then you enlist them to be against you. Rather than viewing you as a valuable addition to the group, they will view you as just another horny asshole trying to steal away their friend. At this point, even if she does like you, they'll try to talk her out of it. Be really nice to the worst bitch in the group. Be nicer to her. It goes back to the basic rule, treat a whore like a lady and a lady like a whore. If she's a real hard-ass bitch, then she's a whore, so you better treat her like a lady. With the ones that are sweet, treat them like whores. Just remember to stay charming when you do it. If you go to a club and meet a woman that's a cold bitch, call her on it. Are you just a cold bitch to me, or do you treat everybody this way? Don't be shy. She certainly isn't. Put her on the spot, put her on the defensive. The best defense is an attack. If you hate somebody, why would you want to fuck them? If she's in a bar, then what is she doing there if she doesn't want to be approached by men? Let me give you a tip. Stay home. You're not going to meet anybody that's going to like you. If that doesn't turn her around, what do you care? When I'm first getting to know a woman, I try to stay away from subjects that I'm very passionate about. Why? Because I might get so involved in the conversation that I forget my original agenda. When I go out to meet women, I'm not going there to talk about politics. If I'm there to fuck, then I try to keep the conversation centered on her, or on us, or on sex. What's a woman going to say to you if you say, I don't want to talk about that right now, I want to talk about you? What's she going to say? No? Okay, goodbye. I like to cut to the chase. We're not immortal. Guys are always asking me about the super hot ones, and that can mean only two things. Either I think she's hot by my standards, or he thinks she's hot by his standards. You have to treat them all the same because they really are all the same. That's what you finally realize after having slept with a lot of women. Since they're all the same, you don't have to worry. A lot of women like to use their body to taunt men. I remember this one woman that used to manipulate men right, left, and center. Every time I saw her, she was teasing some poor jerk who had a really stupid, confused look on his face. When she did it to me, I simply said, if you want to tease me, that's okay, but I have a rule. You have to look me straight in the eye when you do it. The look on her face was priceless. Club techniques. Most guys are worried that since they aren't able to talk in a noisy club that they can't pick up girls. Just walk in and be friendly, be nice. If she offers you her hand, kiss it like in the old days. Maybe smile and rub her cheek, or rub your legs against hers teasingly as you spend time with her. I used to go in, pick up a girl, bring her home, fuck her, then I'd go back to the club to pick up another one. It's that easy. I like sit-down places better. If there's a girl sitting there and an empty stool sitting beside her, then it's easy as hell to pick her up. But if the bar is too noisy, take her by the hand and get her somewhere more peaceful. This is the part about showing interest. If you want to talk to her in a quieter place, then just do it. If she says no, you say okay and move on. 25. When I used to pick up 2 girls on the same night, I used to tell the second girl exactly what I was doing. I met someone already tonight, we got undressed, all I know is I'm back here now. Tell them anything you want. And some women won't go home with you if they know you were just in bed with somebody else. That's okay too. Especially now that sex can kill, we need to be careful. Diseases are rampant. If she dresses slutty, you shouldn't ignore it. Don't be like every other idiot and try to pretend you didn't notice. If you're afraid, get rid of the fear and your problems with women disappear. A woman is a very funny kind of person. You're not a millionaire, you're not a rock star, and you're not a movie star. If you are, then you can have just about any woman you want. Many years ago, I had a friend who had this crazy theory, and the older I got, the more his theory started making sense to me. This guy never wanted to go out with regular women. The only women he wanted to date were hookers. He says that women are all hookers anyway, because they all want something from a guy, usually money. He says that it's cheaper to go out with prostitutes than it is to have a girlfriend or a wife. And he's 100% right. But you see, most of us were brought up to want more than just fucking. We want to get to know the girl, and we develop romantic feelings for her. We want to have a little bit of a hard time once in a while. You can always tell what a woman thinks her best sexual feature is. For example, if she thinks that her ass is her best feature, during her conversation with you she will probably turn around or do something to get you to notice her ass. Some of these women wear pants that are so tight you can actually see the lips on her cunt. Now, if that doesn't tell you that she wants to be noticed, nothing will. Whenever I see a woman dressed so slutty with her tits hanging out, it amazes me to see all of these guys standing around her pretending not to notice. It becomes like the elephant on the sofa. You throw a party and all of your friends are there and there's this elephant on the couch and nobody says anything about it. If you don't have the courage to be honest with yourself and with women, then you are a dingleberry. You know what a dingleberry is? It's that little piece of shit that sticks to the hair of your ass. A dingleberry is so close to the pussy but never makes it all the way to the front. So if you want to be a dingleberry for the rest of your life and make excuses for why you can't get women, continue. But if you decide to take a fucking chance and be honest, you won't believe the transformation in the way women will look at you. I don't think there's any reason why you can't look at somebody and just simply tell them whatever fear is going through your mind. If you have a job, they didn't come over to your parents' house and drag you to the job and make you work for them. You have to go out there and get it. I wasn't born this way. I used to be shy when I was younger. Focus on what you want, and be honest with yourself. If I see a woman and I think, I'd really like to fuck her on the hood of my car, that's all I'm thinking about. I'm a simple man. If you're shy, it's because you are thinking too much. Just look at these big, dumb jocks and see how they pick up women. They may be dumbasses, but they're keeping it simple. We're so busy making excuses in order to justify our shyness. But the fact of the matter is you create shyness. You have to actually sit there and imagine getting rejected or embarrassed. I don't care if you were abused as a child because that's over now. Sometimes I wish my parents had abused me when I was a child because it might have gotten me on Oprah. When a woman asks me to tell her about myself, I say, I'm a fabulous guy, and they almost always say, boy, you sure think highly of yourself, and I reply, you just asked me to tell you about myself, and if I didn't give myself a high recommendation then that would make me a pretty dumb prick, don't you think? Who's a better expert about you than yourself? Don't be afraid to tell them that you think you're a great guy. I give myself the 26. Highest possible recommendation. What am I going to say? Hello, I'm a real loser with low self-esteem and even if I did have a big dick I wouldn't know what to do with it. When you really start succeeding with women, some of them are going to try to give you a hard time about it. But if you truly don't care what they say, then you are free from all that shit. If a broad tries to give you a hard time about anything, the worst thing you can do is get defensive and try to convince her of your sincerity. I remember this one girl who started in on me about my reputation as a player. I didn't argue, I told her that everything people say about me is true. What can she say? She is stuck. I'm not going to argue with her. In this culture, we spend too much time thinking and arguing when we could simply be fucking. My relationship is not a democracy. It's a dictatorship. If you've ever been married and divorced, then you know how democracies work. I have a beautiful relationship with my wife and kids. I don't have to ask my wife for permission to go out with my friends. I don't have to ask for anything in my life. If you buy somebody a present, give it to them. There's too many gifts floating around that have strings attached to them. If I buy a meal for a woman, I don't care what she does with it. I bought her a meal because I felt like it. If you go over to a girl's house and she makes you a meal you don't like, don't pretend that you like it because she might cook it again. If a woman buys you a gift, you might want to ask her if there are any strings attached to the gift. A lot of times there will be. Sometimes the strings are tougher to cut off than others. I know what's going through your minds. I'm not good looking enough for her. I'm not tall enough. I'm not rich enough. I'm not funny enough. I'm not slim enough. I'm not big enough. My dick is too small. And my all-time favorite, I have low self-esteem. Want to know what they're thinking? They're thinking, what kind of stupid line is this prick going to try on me? In fact, that's a great pickup line. The best lines just happen to be the honest truth of what you are thinking at any moment.